Mr. Long, is it illegal for the president to direct the IRS to revoke a taxpayer's nonprofit status?
In the first place, he wouldn't do that. He's not going to come to me and say that.
That's not my question, Mr. Long. Please don't start down this.
Are we on section 7212 or 7217?
I'm at 26 U.S.C. 7217. Do I need to read it to you?
Prohibits any member of the executive branch to request the IRS to conduct or terminate an audit on a taxpayer.
All righty. So is it illegal?
I'm going to follow the law, and if that's the law, yes.
Okay, but I want you, that is the law.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear. Is it illegal for the President of the United States to instruct the IRS to remove a taxpayer's nonprofit status?
Prohibits any member of the executive branch to request the IRS to conduct or terminate an audit of the taxpayer.
Right.
She didn't raise her voice. She didn't interrupt. She just read the law, word for word, and exposed something deeply disturbing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the IRS collects nearly all federal revenue, and that means that behind every road we build, every Social Security check that we pay is the IRS, making sure that everyone pays what the law says they owe. No politics. But Donald Trump has a different idea. He wants to use the IRS to punish his enemies. On May 2nd, Trump said, quote, "We are going to be taking away Harvard's tax-exempt status." Harvard wouldn't cave in to other demands Trump made, so Trump said he would hurt them using the IRS. Now, this is about more than Harvard. It is a threat to anyone who might displease the president, including the people or organizations that can't afford to have expensive legal battle if Trump sets the IRS on them. So, Mr. Long, when you and I met, I asked you whether it was illegal for the president to tell the IRS to revoke a taxpayer's nonprofit status. And you said in our meeting that you weren't sure, but you would take a look and consult with lawyers. I sent you the statute. You've had 3 weeks to talk to the lawyers about it. So let's jump in. Mr. Long, is it illegal for the president to direct the IRS to revoke a taxpayer's nonprofit status?
In the first place, he wouldn't do that. He's not going to come to me and say that.
That's not my question, Mr. Long. Please don't start down this.
Are we on section 7212 or 7217?
I'm at 26 U.S.C. 7217. Do I need to read it to you?
Prohibits any member of the executive branch to request the IRS to conduct or terminate an audit on a taxpayer.
All righty. So is it illegal?
I'm going to follow the law, and if that's the law, yes.
Okay, but I want you, that is the law.
Yeah.
So I just want to be clear. Is it illegal for the President of the United States to instruct the IRS to remove a taxpayer's nonprofit status?
Prohibits any member of the executive branch to request the IRS to conduct or terminate an audit of the taxpayer.
Is that a yes?
I'd have to go to the lawyers at the IRS
no,
to tell me.
No, come on. You just read it.
I know, but I don't see the instance that you're speaking about in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't see.
Look, it says it shall be unlawful for any applicable person, which in this case includes the president, to request directly or indirectly any officer or employee of the Internal Revenue Service to conduct or terminate an audit or other investigation of any particular taxpayer. Is it illegal for the president to instruct the IRS to remove nonprofit status from a taxpayer?
I'm not going to have the answer that you need, and I apologize, but like I said.
Why are you not having the answer? You've had 3 weeks to consult with lawyers. The statute is about as clear as plain English.
Well, if I say I'm going to follow the law, why would you need to ask me the question?
Well, because I want to make sure that you understand what the law says. If you think follow the law means you just get to make it up on the spot, then, Bud, no, you don't get to be the IRS commissioner.
I said I would.
The point here is to follow the law as it is written, and I'm asking what I think is a pretty simple question. Can the President of the United States legally tell the IRS to change someone's nonprofit status?
I'm not able to answer.
You can't read these words and tell what those words say?
I can read the statute, and I did.
All right, then tell me what they mean. What does it mean to say that a person, an applicable person here, that's the president, right?
Yes.
All right, cannot directly or indirectly, right, tell any officer or employee, that would be you, of the Internal Revenue Service to conduct or terminate an audit or other investigation of any particular taxpayer. What part do you not understand here?
It seems to be not a nonprofit, I don't see exactly what it refers to.
Any taxpayer, to start an investigation of any taxpayer.
If it's illegal, I'm not going to allow it to happen in my IRS.
Is it illegal? That's the
Me and you
question.
will be friends then. I want to be your friend anyway, but we will be on the same page. I'm going to follow the law, and if that's point blank
What do
the
you
law.
understand the law to be saying about the president telling the IRS in his dealings with any particular taxpayer? What do you understand this law to be saying?
I think it sounds like it's saying what you're saying, but I've got a little bit of the section here, and I talked to an attorney that used to be at the IRS and now going to maybe be back at the IRS, and I'm sorry if I don't have the answer.
What, you mean the lawyers told you they couldn't understand this?
The what?
The lawyers told you they couldn't understand this?
I didn't say that.
Well, then tell me, what part do you not understand? It says, no person, and you've said that's the president, that includes the president, cannot instruct any officer, that would be you, of the IRS to conduct or to terminate an audit or other investigation for any particular taxpayer.
I don't intend to let anybody direct me to start audit for political reasons or any other type of reason.
Does that include the president of the United States?
That's anyone.
Can you say yes, that the president of the United States cannot tell the IRS what to do?
I can tell them they're not going to tell me what to do. I can't speak for if there's other agents at the IRS that you're talking about, but I'm telling you what I don't want to have happen in my IRS.
You know, Mr. Long, you'd have a lot more credibility if you just say yes. It's clear that the statute makes it illegal for the president to direct the IRS vis-a-vis any particular taxpayer. And the fact that you want to sit there and dance around about this tells me that you shouldn't be within 1,000 miles of the directorship of the IRS.
What made this exchange so uncomfortable to watch wasn't the tone, it was the clarity. Elizabeth Warren didn't argue theory. She didn't speculate about intent. She didn't accuse. She simply opened the statute and read it, line by line, forcing a Trump IRS commissioner nominee to confront the plain meaning of the law he would be sworn to enforce, and he couldn't or wouldn't do it. Warren began by grounding the conversation in something most Americans don't think about until it breaks. The IRS is not a political weapon. It is the agency that makes modern government function. Roads, Social Security, disaster relief, national defense, none of it works unless taxes are collected fairly and without fear. That's why the IRS is supposed to operate without politics. No favoritism, no retaliation, no enemies list. But Warren pointed to a chilling statement from Donald Trump, who publicly threatened to strip Harvard of its tax-exempt status after the university refused to comply with his demands. That wasn't subtle. That wasn't hypothetical. That was the president openly suggesting he would use the IRS to punish an institution for defying him. And that's where Warren shifted from outrage to law. She reminded the nominee that federal statute 26 U.S.C. section 7217 is explicit. It is illegal for any member of the executive branch, including the president, to direct the IRS to investigate, audit, or target a specific taxpayer. That prohibition exists for one reason. Once tax enforcement becomes political, democracy collapses quietly and efficiently. So Warren asked the simplest possible question: is it illegal for the President of the United States to direct the IRS to revoke a taxpayer's nonprofit status? Not a trick, not a trap, a yes or no question. And that's when the moment turned revealing. The nominee hedged, he deflected, he claimed confusion. He said he'd need to ask lawyers, despite having had 3 weeks to review the statute Warren herself had already sent him. He parsed words. He pretended not to understand plain English. But here's the lesson for viewers. Confusion was the strategy, because admitting the answer is yes would mean acknowledging that Donald Trump's public threat crossed a legal line, and acknowledging that would require a spine. Warren refused to let him off the hook. She didn't insult him. She didn't editorialize. She kept reading the statute and asking him to explain what it meant. And every time he tried to dodge, she pulled him back to the same sentence. No applicable person, including the president, may direct the IRS to target a specific taxpayer. This wasn't about Harvard. Warren made that clear. Harvard can hire lawyers. It can fight back. This is about every small nonprofit, every advocacy group, every local organization that cannot afford a legal war if a president decides they're inconvenient. If the IRS commissioner cannot plainly say that the president is bound by the law, then the IRS ceases to be an independent institution. It becomes an enforcement arm of whoever holds power. That's why Warren's final point landed so hard. If following the law means you get to reinterpret it on the fly, depending on who's asking, then you have no business leading the agency responsible for enforcing it. This wasn't grandstanding, it was a stress test, and the nominee failed it, because democracy doesn't usually fall apart with tanks or sirens. It erodes when officials refuse to say simple truths out loud, especially when those truths limit power. If you found this breakdown helpful, share it with someone who thinks this was just another partisan clash. Subscribe for more context, not just clips, and pay attention to moments like this, because the laws that protect us only work when the people in charge are willing to read them, understand them, and obey them.